5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. I'm Dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy. Welcome to Mondays with Myrt, where we talk about anything and everything that's come across our desk since last we met. I see that Patricia Jackson's here. Hello. Melinda's over there on the YouTube side. She made a good contribution for today's discussion. Joyce is here. There's our Betty Lou. Let's see what we've got. Quite a few people out there. Flo, Western Oregon. It's raining up here on Guimas Island, up here in the San Juans, and we are thankful for that. Yeah, it's what we got to have. Let's see. Linda Stuffelbean is here. Randy and Linda and I and a couple other genealogy bloggers were in a premium meeting. It was pretty premium, wasn't it, Randy, on Saturday? And let me tell you a little bit about what we're planning to do today. Okay. Well, first of all, it's the 29th of July. And I know it's been a long time, but I had 2 grip courses and a surgery, and I kind of needed to have that much time to recuperate. But what's the deal with what's going on over there in Germany, or no, Norway, Leave? Come on, tell me about it. And then we'll introduce the rest of the panel.
Yes, today is Ulsok in Norway. And that's in remembrance of King Olav, who went into a battle at Stiklestad, just north of Trondheim. And he died in this battle. And he was canonized in a year's time. So he's Saint Olav now.
So was he like a very well-loved and respected church person or government person? Tell me who he was to the people. I guess he led the battle, maybe.
Yeah. He was born around 995, the year. And he went as a Viking to Great Britain. He was baptized in Rouen in France. He fought a few battles because nobody ruled all of Norway at that time.
So it wasn't unified.
No. And he started christening Norway, making it a Christian country. But he was disliked, so he had to leave Norway in the event to Kiev. It's kind of impressive. We're talking about 1,000 years ago. And a guy who's been to Great Britain, to France, and to what is today Ukraine. And then he came back and started to try to be a king of all of Norway. But he lost in this battle at Stiklestad. And it's the death scene we see here. And here is the place, Stiklestad, and they have a play every year. If you enlarge it, you can see a herd of horses. So it's people doing this performance, and they have animals. It's really grand.
So are they reenacting or singing national anthems? Is this like the 4th of July here in the United States, maybe? Although not involving any tea being thrown in the harbor?
No, it's a reenactment.
Yeah. Reenact. Yeah. Okay.
And there is a festival in Trondheim at this time with church music, all kinds of cultural events, and sometimes it's also a food festival, a beer festival. And here's a picture from 2 years ago when I went to the food festival. So these are our carrots.
That's a lot of carrots, that's for sure. Well, happy, how do I say this?
Ulsok.
Okay, happy that. And Uta is giggling because she knows I have fun with foreign languages, and I don't mean it any disrespect at all. It's just it, I'd have to practice it a few more times. Thank you, Lee. Now we should mention you're in France right now. You're normally our gal in Norway, but you're in France. And are you paying attention to the Olympics, the Summer Olympics?
Yes, I saw the opening show. I thought it was grand, very
I
good.
thought it, I thought it was incredible too to understand the history of Greek Greek history and the whole thing. Quite incredible with Celine Dion stealing herself up to be capable of singing was incredible, just beautiful. Okay, so let me introduce the rest of the panelists. Randy Seaver's here. Hi, Randy.
Hi
He's
there.
our guy in California. Frank's our guy in Germany. Hillary's our gal in Wales, and
Hi.
she's my co-host and will help bring people up and down from the stage. Ellen, good to see you. I know that you're having connection issues. We're going to work together on that. I really miss Cousin Russ because he was really super good at troubleshooting. We'll get you going, babe. And next week we have something special about one of your ancestors coming up. Okay, then we have Uta, who's visiting, and she and Ursula we're going to speak with next. There's Maria. She's my timer. She keeps me on the ball. There's Ursula from Germany. Uta, you're here in the U.S., but you have Germanic roots, obviously, and we'll be learning more about that. And of course, we have our Jill Morelli. And Jill, I noticed you did your stint down at the Seattle Genealogical Society. I did go down there, but you weren't there that particular day. So that's a nice facility, wonderful
Very nice.
facility. I was a jolt because the last time I went to the Genealogical Society was when you were across from NARA Regional Archives at Sandpoint.
Yeah.
And it's volunteers like you and each of you in your communities and those of you who are out there listening, you're the ones that help people unlock their heritage and gain an understanding of their past. All right,
And people can call in for that matter,
they can call in.
Yeah,
Okay.
just call in and you don't have to necessarily come in. We love to have people come in, but calling is just fine.
All right, so I'll tell you what, in the chat, in the comments, please send the telephone number.
Okay.
And there's a Pacific Northwest SIG, which I have on my calendar but haven't been attending. The Pacific Northwest includes what, Jill?
Well, we're defining it pretty broadly,
Yeah.
but because we're kind of the only action in town that goes all the way up to Alaska, even Hawaii, some Pacific Rim.
Wow.
And so we have experts in a lot of areas that a lot of people don't.
Okay.
So that's
You never know.
But we go to include Montana, Idaho, certainly all of Washington, Oregon, if they, it's kind of self-defined.
Yeah, there is a pretty active genealogy society down by the Columbia River in
the
Washington.
Genealogical Forum of Oregon is a very active chapter.
Yes, that's it. I think of the Pacific Northwest traditionally as Washington State, specifically that northwestern part of Washington State, so west of the mountains and into Oregon as well. But you're thinking broadly, and that's very good. Okay, so
right. I'll put that number in the chat.
Okay, and
I remember I have to
just put it in the private chat, and we'll take care of it.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so I want to talk about this with Uta, and let's, Hillary, if you could have everyone to the wings except for me and Uta and Ursula. There was a big announcement, and I was a good girl and didn't tell until you all made your public announcement. Take it away, Ursula.
Yes, Uta and I started a new venture. So Uta and I both are genealogists specializing on German research. And we have been working together for ages and working well together. So we figured that we should start something together. And what we're focusing on is education and mentoring. But our approach is very, very different because we put the people in the spotlight and then the sources. So we
And
always
then
start.
I heard the people and then the
Sources. First,
sources.
first the people. Yeah.
Okay.
So the difference is that we focus on history and social history, and our focus is on how our ancestors lived.
That's pretty important. That's pretty important because we're not just quick click genealogists. Okay, there's a birth date, I believe, and there's a death date, and then we move on to the next generation, which is kind of a majorly bad move because you don't have the context of the fan club.
Exactly. You don't really understand who your ancestors were. You just have names and numbers, but you don't know who they were. And I mean, considering that you're a part of your ancestors, that would be something you would want to know.
Totally. Uta, you two get into trouble all the time. I've seen pictures from when you go visiting. But you have one of your major things on this new website, German Genealogy Headquarters. Let me share that with everybody. Oh, thank you, Melinda, for doing that. I appreciate it. Is education. Talk to me about your outreach in that regard.
Well, first of all, I'll say that what you said earlier, that everyone wants to add the flesh to the bones of just dates and names, but it's really it's so different in German research to do that, and it just needs to be taught how. And there are wonderful genealogists who do great presentations in German genealogy, and we could name a few. We have a lot of respect for our colleagues who do that, but what we see at conferences and in classes online is that it's usually just one subject that's kind of standing by itself. And when you do that, it is difficult to really have a thread that teaches you about, oh, this is how it ties into German history. So, and you will always hear from these excellent presenters that you will hear them say that German genealogy cannot be taught in a single course. I was a presenter last winter at Michael Lacopo's German course at SLIG, and it was a fantastic course, and there were great lectures. But Michael himself, the first thing he said is, even in an intense course over a 1 week like that, you cannot even begin to cover everything that is important in German genealogy. So Ursula and I had exactly zero trouble coming up with lectures topics for 3 years of online workshops. So we have so many ideas, and we think that this way, the way we're planning, really is the way to go if you want to continue. It'll be possible, of course, to just attend a single workshop and get a lot out of it, but we see this long-term project where we really dig much more deeply than you ever could into the material than you ever could in a single lecture or even 3 lectures.
Well, and I want to interject here. If you, I think when I grew up in elementary school, we got Washington State history. It was just from our childhood, we learned about how the pioneers came and that it was Oregon and Washington was one big territory called the Oregon Territory. And we, bit by bit, from our childhood, learned about the culture, about the, not so much as we should have, about the indigenous population. We've had to improve on that for our current generation of children. And I don't have that kind of knowledge, for instance, about California, other than the big thing that they had a gold rush, I think, in 1849, right? And I know a little bit about Maryland history because I had kids that went to school, elementary school through middle school, etc., where they gradually taught the kids more about Maryland history. But I don't have that for England, where I have ancestors, or Germany, where I have ancestors, because I didn't get it from the very beginning like you and Ursula have it. So it's ingrained in you to understand that history and how our ancestors' lives and history intersect. And that's the value of the type of education that you two present. I can tell Ursula's agreeing with me because she's shaking her head. Yes. All right. So let me share your website again here. So the first one I'm going. I think it's about every other month you have another course. Is that the plan?
That's right.
It's five times a year.
Okay.
So we take a summer break, but yeah.
Yeah. So, and then it's an all-day event.
Exactly. And it's
Because
a virtual event. So
yes.
you can stay at home and do it from your own desk. And it's also recorded and available for 12 months. So you can watch it again and again and again, go through it again for 12 months. So I think that's quite a good opportunity. And also maybe if you miss one class, you can still watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, the thing is, if a person decides they're going to face reality here, face the fact that they've been ignoring the Germanic side of their family tree, this is the year, starting in September, that they're going to start focusing on German research. This is a good way to do it. And if anybody out there's like old Myrt, when I hear something the first time, I get what, 15% of it if I'm lucky. I think they say something like that for children, and I'm a kid, right? I do need to come back and look at this again because for this year, I'm going to major in Germanic research. This past year, I've been working on AI, and I took 2 institutes and killed myself on it. And I will keep learning, but I've got the basics. And being able to come back and review a particular segment of this, like this September course, I'll get more of it. I understood like a child, then I do some work. Now I look at it again, and I've learned that much more. It wasn't that you didn't present it well, it's that I'm a baby when it comes to German research. Yes, I've been there. I've been to where Conrad Weiser's no, not his homestead. That's in Pennsylvania. I've been to the marker for his mother's burial in Großaschbach, and I'm probably ruining how I say that, which is unusual because most of the cemeteries in Germany, after what is it, like 30 or 40 years, they take the tombstones away and bury somebody new there. But it's a small country. Really, I think that the state of Missouri is about the same size as Germany as we know it today. Now, what are you considering Germany, the focus of your research? Does that include all of Germany as we know it, or are you expanding?
Well, that's a really good question because Germany has changed. What we will be focusing on is what was Germany. So Germany before 1871 had a very turbulent history, and there were lots of different little states, and it kept changing. In 1871, the German Empire was founded, and that stayed more or less.
Kaiser Wilhelm.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Bismarck. So that stayed about that way until the end of World War II. And so that is what we would consider the Germany that we will be talking about. So not Austria, but of course, we're just beginning, so we might expand at some point. But right now, we're thinking the German Empire as it stood from 1871 to 1945. And that is a lot larger than today's Germany, because after the war, significant parts of what was the German Empire were ceded to Poland. So, and
Yeah.
some to France and some to Russia. So we're looking at that historical Germany.
Okay. Let me go to comments from the community here. Betty Lou says, so you are helping people to flesh out their ancestors, not just the names and dates. Hillary, one of our panelists, said, we need to know what was happening when our ancestors lived in an area to understand how events impacted their lives. Yeah, we think of things here in the United States like the Johnstown flood or the Tennessee Valley Authority, and that when they put up that dam, entire homes were flooded. It's just what it was. Okay, the courses are in English or German or both? That's a good question.
They're in
Apparently.
English only.
Okay, I didn't know I said that, but I think that's because somebody's acting on my behalf over there, which is fine. Okay, English. Oh, you answered her. Hi, Maria. Lately in my research, I've been thinking about levels of history. Interesting. And Celia says, my German ancestors from Württemberg and Pennsylvania in the 1700s were Catholic. Mine were evangelists. And mine went to New York first. They were part of that other wave of the Palatines. And then they came down the Susquehanna to Pennsylvania. Okay. Whoops, I wanted to show another one. Apparently I did a nice thing here. National history, regional history, and family history. Now, Uta is really responding to that, so we're on the same wavelength. Frank says, not only what happens to them, but also how they reacted to it. Yeah, that could have been a push them out, push-pull factor to get them to leave or to emigrate. And I was always surprised. I had an ancestor that came through Le Havre, and so I thought they were French. But I thought that they only came through Bremen, for instance, or Hamburg, if they were German. And nope, that's one thing I've learned. And hi, Valerie, saying this deeper education for Germany is an awesome idea. Long time needed. Great for these two gals to be teaching them. And interesting too is this point that Monta is making about her Swiss from Zurich who spoke German. It just depends on family traditions and where people moved and settled. They didn't all come to the U.S. There's lots of places in the world to go. But anyway.
Yeah, my great-great-grandmother was Swiss. So I have a German speaking from the Zurich area as well.
Okay. All right. So I'm really glad that you guys came to explain in detail what your concept was. And I'm looking forward to working on my Germanic roots with you guys this next year.
If I may say one more thing,
Yeah.
Ursula and I are the best of friends. So we know we're going to have fun with this. So sometimes German genealogy sounds like this daunting thing, and it can be, but we are just going to make this enjoyable. And you might have seen on the schedule that there's a lot of discussion time. There's also a possibility to meet with us for mentoring. So we want everyone to know that if you don't feel like you know enough, that's okay. We'll enjoy working with you no matter what your level is.
Well, and I know you two well enough. I know Ursula better because she's been in my home and stayed in my home and things like that. And when the pressure is lower and humor lowers the pressure, it's easier for me to learn. And I don't think I'm alone in that regard. And so I know that I can learn from you too.
Yes, and we're talking about people. And talking about people is always fun. It's not only going to be sources like first source, second source, third source. We're really looking into it and always asking, what is the relationship, or how does this influence our ancestors, the people? And that makes it fun, I think, and lively. And that's the way I want to teach.
Okay. All right. So there is this website. It just went live on Friday. Here's something about mentoring and those one-on-one assistance options. I don't know what's on the research tab, but here's the contact information. You can also find them on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Again, this is the link to the genealogy headquarters. German genealogy headquarters is the name, but the URL is genealogy headquarters. All right. Thank you very much, you two. I've enjoyed talking with you today.
Thank you.
All right. And Uta, come back any old time, okay?
Oh, I will. Thanks.
You're welcome to be here. Okay, let me look at the docket and see what's next. Okay, I do want to switch gears a little bit and bring a few things to your attention. It is possible, and this was an interesting conversation that that I had via Facebook with Randy. I want to talk a little bit about the YouTube channel. And could you have them move them down to the backstage, please? Thank you. Yes, I know that my new area for posting webinars, live or otherwise, is called Dear Myrtle's Archive, which Randy rightfully points out sounds like it's for the archiving of previous stuff. Well, everything happens here now. The lives are usually posted a week in advance, so the next one's August 5th. And if you, let me zoom in a little, plus. If you subscribe, and of course I'm subscribed, and click all, you will get a notice when just a few minutes before the next live goes live. It'll give you a little warning. Betty Lou knows about that. That's how she knows whether or not our friend Sir Michael Daniels is hosting a game night on Friday night. Sometimes he's coaching. Well, he's actually not a coach. He's an umpire for Little League Baseball in his area. And so that's how you can find out. You don't have to register. You just have to show up. If you want to subscribe, that really does help me. I have a new subscriber because when I looked earlier, it was 970. So thank you, whoever that is that just signed up. I appreciate it. You'll also find me at dearmyrtle.com. And the first post is pinned here. It's a sticky post. How to attend the new Mondays with Myrt. And I just updated it as of the 23rd of July. Part of why I did that is, although I do have a calendar option up here, I embedded it also here in that page. This is a post that has become a sticky post. And it also tells you more about all of our panelists and about our alternate panelists who are coming when they have a schedule that permits it. They're willing to help me and be a resource. These folks are very precious to me. I love my panelists. They're the ones that contribute the topics to discuss. I mean, I reserve the right to be opinionated and add things to the list, and I arrange them, but yeah. Yes, thank you, Frank, for saying please like it. So yeah, every time you're watching a stream or you view one like this one, let me just this. If you hit the like button, that also helps me. Let me turn off Frank's. This is the like button. Hopefully not disliking. That's where you can share it. If you find something in today's presentation, you can hit the share button and send it to somebody right now and they can join us. One thing that's better now that I'm going straight to YouTube is that I don't have to wait for Zoom to render the video. 90 minutes is a very long, low priority thing for them to render. Then I would used to have to download it. Then I'd have to upload it. And you all know my health is not the best. Neither is Mr. Myrt is a priority. So this way, the rerun is available immediately. Okay. Anything else? Let's see. Oh yeah, we do have a Facebook group, and I will click the share button and give you that link right now. And this is how you can share it. Those of you who are already a member, that it's coming through slowly but slowly. Yeah, the link to join here, and here's where I end up curating a lot. There's that picture. I am so glad I gave Cousin Russ that shadow box with that participation at Gettysburg medallion. You have to tell people you love them whenever you get a chance because you never know. But anyway, what I do on Facebook is curate all kinds of information. Like yesterday, I talked about if you had Mormon pioneers, that I have them that came from Wales and England. There's a new, very improved website called Saints by the Sea. A lot of promotion. This is the report from the Kentucky Historical Society about their collaboration with Family Search and their records digitization. So apparently 28 counties need help. The dark ones need help with volunteers who can do it. The green, there's 4 areas here, 4 counties where the clerk has signed permission for the digitization to go forward. Yeah. All right. Enough of all that. Let's go back to our schedule for today. Okay, we're going to pull Maria up. And Maria, we forgot to have you share your screen. So please click settings. Nope. Click present, screen share, and then click that monitor. Remember, you put your blog over on your good monitor. And when you do that, I'll be able to see it. Hillary, would you keep an eye out for that? Let me know and I'll pull up something else to discuss. From time to time, we talk about AI, and we are going to be talking about it again shortly. But you will recall that the Board for Certification of Genealogists had not, when last we met, announced their interpretation about using AI. And this is their current thinking. Am I sharing my screen? No, it would be good if I did that sort of a thing. Maria, I can see yours is coming up. So we will get to you shortly. Okay. So I want to share this link with you. There's still some things that are a little bit open to interpretation, but I wanted you to know that BCG is thinking about how new potential certified genealogists, that these new folks who are seeking certification, can or should not, in certain circumstances, use artificial intelligence. They can use grammar checking and spell checking. They may use them to translate documents. This is the main important thing I wanted to tell you. Except for this one part of the portfolio where BCG gives them a document to transcribe. So you can't use AI for that. But that's their latest thinking. Okay, Maria, let's see what you've got on your screen. Okay, so we need to have you scroll to the top. All right, this is the front end of your blog. We need you to log in at Blogger so that, and I will remove it from the view. We are going to look at the back side of Blogger so that we can adjust a few things that we might want to adjust. In the meantime, while you're logging in there, Betty Lou says years ago in the 60s and 70s, the Family History Library had filmed complete counties in the United States, and they had a map in the library. Okay, now I'm going to beg to differ with complete counties because they did not film everything in a county courthouse, for instance. The priorities were land records, probate indexes, marriage indexes. I'm trying to think of what else. But you can understand they didn't do the entire probate files. They take up entire rooms. There are exceptions. And there are some states like Iowa that wasn't too good about granting permission. It would be nice if they had a map. Now they have a map. Let me go log in at Family Search and then we'll get over to Maria. Let me log in and then I'll bring the screen over. Okay. And we will share my screen. Okay. Let us go to search records. And they do have a map. It's kind of tiny here. And you can click on it and click on United States, and then you have to use their scrollable list for what do they have on Iowa. Let's just pick that. And I rather like how they presented this, Betty Lou. Let me turn that off so you can get the full view of the screen. They do give you the Learning Center courses that might help you with your research in Iowa. And right now, if there had been any indexing projects that you could contribute to, they would be listed here. Okay. Now, you've got indexed records. You have genealogies. And you have image-only records. Let me talk about genealogies. How many of you are frustrated with the One World Tree at FamilySearch.org? Raise your hand. Let me know. Tell me. I need some feedback. Of course, there's a 15-second delay between when I say something and Uta, why are you frustrated with the one tree at Family Search?
It doesn't find the connections that I find. It's you know, sometimes people will be there in there multiple times, but depending on what records are looked at,
yeah, there's duplicates. It's not your tree.
Yeah,
it belongs to the world.
Well, I'm always frustrated with something that is easily available and not analyzed.
I totally get that. Even Wikitree is 1000% better when it comes to sources, because they do that once or twice a year sourceathon where they work on people's trees to improve the possibility of, is this really this, is there justification in documents that prove a relationship, or are there other alternatives? I guess other alternatives is kind of a redundancy.
I mean, I
The
look at it
one,
and I can use it as a hint sometimes, but
yeah,
honestly have not really had much success with it actually guiding me in a direction that helped.
I hear you. Now, the one world tree is not genealogies. It is possible for you to upload your perfect family tree in a different area than that one world tree where they killed off my Uncle Jack 3 times, and 4 times I had to undead him. And here's where you do it. Here's where they show up under genealogies, not family tree, but under genealogies. Let me zoom in slightly more so you can see that. Under search, we went to records. We're not going to that one world tree. It's under genealogies. So if I were getting toward the end of my life and I'm still planning to be here a little longer, I wanted to, will I ever want to stop doing genealogy? I don't know. If I want to put up my best thinking at that point in time, I would upload it under genealogies. Nobody can edit it, but anybody can access it. And this is one of the ways to access it. When you see genealogies or at the top, I'm glad they added this here because we're looking at Iowa things, and that search genealogies is kind of overlooked when it's in the drop-down menu. In fact, family tree takes such precedence, that's all that people think of. But anyway, index records make sense. And they may not have images. And we're only looking at part of the list. Now I'm looking at a greater list. These state census records are very important. Those of you who are doing research, let's do all and see if we get any more. Yeah, we do. The Adjutant General's grave registration for servicemen, church records. These that have the camera mean, folks, that let me make this full screen. They know there's 289,000 records. Whoops, I want to go back. Apparently I clicked, but they don't have images of them. Here they have images and it's indexed. Sometimes it's images only. Let's keep going. That's a lot. All right, let me go back to look at that original Iowa page. Come on, computer. Okay, here we are. Okay, there are the indexed historical records, of which they give you a smattering to begin with. Apparently there's 44 collections for Iowa. There's that genealogies I talked to you about. Can we move Uta to the wings there? Then there's the image-only records that have typically not been indexed. However, these look pretty indexed because they're giving you not only the image, that's what that icon means, but they're also giving you a total amount. There are some, let's see if we can find any. That's all? Okay. If it is something where they only have the images, where you have to browse them, you won't have, here's one, the non-population census schedules. They have a number of images, but you have to browse the collection. That's a lot for Iowa. I haven't looked lately. All right. Somebody else said something. Okay. Let me get back to what y'all are saying. You merged 4 profiles with 5 name variations in each. It was just a matter of bad indexing. Yeah, you may not realize there are genealogies that were put together years ago. I don't think 150 years ago. But you might, I don't know. Boy, I'm picking on you today, Betty Lou. Forgive me. I do know this, that in 1890, remember I have Mormon pioneer ancestors on my dad's side of the family. In the 1890s, the LDS Church sent out a legal size paper, one side printed, it was a form, and the people were to list their birthplace, birth date, stuff like that, their parents' information of birth, marriage, and death, and grandparents. And then in about 89 or 90, we all started submitting things. Yeah. And Cecilia points out you learn to skip through the images that are black notes between groups. Yeah, I like to initially skip ahead 300 images until I find out that things were not filmed in alphabetical order, and then when they change the film, you just have to get oriented to that collection. Yeah. And Joyce, I agree with you 1,000%. Please don't have a tree only at Ancestry or only at MyHeritage or Find My Past or over at Family Search. Have your own database on your own computer. Thank you. I'm glad I helped somebody today. Okay, let me stop screen sharing. And there we go. And I'm going to get Maria up on the screen. If you could do that, if you pull her up on the stage, please. And here we are. Okay, we're still looking at the front side of your blog.
Okay, so where would you like me to go?
Well, you have to log in.
I did. I'm logged in.
You go to blogger.com.
Okay.
And log in.
Okay.
That's where you can then create a post.
Okay.
This is where we read it.
So is this?
There we are.
There we
Okay.
Go. Okay.
All right, that's perfect. Okay. Boy, that was stressful, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was for me.
All right. Now on the next tab, add a new tab at the top of your web browser. No, at the very top.
Yep.
Okay, that's a new post.
Okay.
All right, let's go back. Hit that arrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go to layout.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not in alphabetical order, so it's a pain. Okay, so broken branches and twigs is your page header. Okay, and we saw that briefly. Scroll down some more.
Okay.
And you have searched this blog on the side, so your navigation is on the right side, which is fine. And we put search this blog at the very top of the list. It's a gadget.
Right here.
And you can remove both of these AdSenses because you're not working with that right now. So it'll just be empty space for the moment.
Okay.
And tell it remove and okay. And tell it again,
Okay.
remove. Okay.
Thank you.
And you can tell it to report abuse gadget. You can remove that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Now, and then let us drag About Me underneath the blog archive. And the way you drag it is the gray bar on the left side of that box.
Yeah.
Hold your mouse pointer down on that. Yep. And move it down below.
Okay.
Keep going. Keep going.
Oh, there we
That's
go.
good. Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So now let's talk about the wider part on the left side.
Okay.
So this at the top is where your most current blog post will show.
Okay. Right here.
If you want to feature a post like I did, and I use WordPress, and it was all about how to come to Mondays with Myrt, that's what the featured post gadget is for. But if you don't have a featured post, it won't, I don't think it will show.
All right.
And then popular posts is good because then it will show a couple of your recent blog posts.
All right.
Let's click edit under popular posts, the lower right.
Okay.
And okay, let's change it to all time because
Okay.
it's going to take you a while to have. Okay. And it will show a thumbnail and a snippet because that button has been moved to the right, which makes it green, like green go, like
Right.
on a
Yeah,
storm.
I haven't touched any of this stuff, so
Yeah.
you know.
All right. And then how about if we give it the last 6 posts instead of 3? Let's see what options you have. Yeah. Okay, and we need to save that so it will work.
Okay.
And it's called the popular post gadget. When you click that edit again, you'll see that it doesn't have a title, and that's okay. You don't have to have a title. What they'll see is just a list of the last 6 popular blog posts with a little image, because you're going to put an image on every page, on every post, and on every page, and a snippet. And if you don't have an image, Randy has a trick up his sleeve to help you, and we'll be discussing that in a little minute.
Good.
But when I say image, it could be that you're discussing one document, one photo, one marriage record, and then talking about, let's say it's the marriage record, and then you're talking about that couple, but only a couple of paragraphs.
Mm-hmm.
You're not writing their entire history of their marriage and all the kids and all their migrations.
Okay.
I once again attended a meeting where there was a prolific blogger who's never published her posts because she's trying to make each post perfect.
Okay.
And my suggestion is, if you want cousin bait, which your blog will be, if you want to pull people in, you need to be sending out routinely posts about that marriage couple.
Okay.
So it's better to have 10 small things spread out over 10 weeks than make it all crunched into one post.
Okay. Good. That makes sense.
And that takes the pressure off, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, because I'm not a writer, so
yeah, just a paragraph or two. Yeah, I've really pushed you into this, but people
That's
that I have, like Frank, get Frank up here so he can defend himself. Frank, wait, I twisted your arm and made you start blogging, and it's a good place for you to put your current thinking, isn't it?
Yep. It is.
You still love me after I twisted your arm, I hope.
Of course I do.
Good answer. Yeah. So I think this was a good decision to have just one or two paragraphs.
Yeah, I agree.
And you may get to be more prolific, like Leave was in explaining what the 29th of July means in history, the guy, the battle, and in current everyday celebrations. You may decide to do that, but you don't start out that way. I didn't start out that way.
No, because I would be overwhelmed and then I wouldn't do it, you know, and because I know myself. So if I, you know, knowing me, I would want to be all gun ho and I'd be going, oh my gosh, why'd I do this? So for me, little bits at a time sounds much better.
Much better. And here's the other thing. Do you know why I use the no? Well, people know who Dear Myrtle is, but I took on the name Dear Myrtle. My assignment from George, who was in charge of the Golden Gate Genealogy Forum on AOL, which Valerie and a few other people here who are attending, they were also chat hosts. He wanted to have little tidbits of content going out like every day. And I'm like, oh. And the reason I didn't do it under my name, I chose the name Dear Myrtle because of my grandma Myrtle,
Right.
so that my ego was, I could hide behind it.
Mm-hmm.
My ego wasn't on the line.
Right.
And my friends recognize my typos. I'm not a good self-editor. Nobody is. It's more important that you get it in your post in those two paragraphs, that one concept or maybe two, than that it is perfectly grammatically accurate, etc. It's okay if you speak in colloquialisms. It's okay if you type like you're telling me the story, where we kind of don't speak in complete sentences or run-on sentences, or this is a bulleted list, by the way. of yeah, just go for it and don't worry.
Okay.
You can always go back and fix it if it's a glaring error. But anyway, all right. Click save again. Not that we change anything, but it's a good practice just in case.
Okay.
All right. So we have significantly adjusted things on your main page, the layout, except that you need something across the bottom. Scroll down more.
Okay. Tell me when.
Okay. So we need to do a footer. So all of these footer 1, footer 2, footer 3 are just different layouts. Nothing's going to be there if we don't edit it or add a gadget. But the bottom one, click edit. And you're actually catching on really quick. Yep, you've got it. Copyright 2024, Maria Capaldi. So on January 1st, you need to put on your calendar, change the copyright to be 2024-2025. And this appears on the bottom of every blog post on Blogger, as well as your homepage. Okay, and you could put your email address there.
Next to my name?
Like, but you don't have to. Click save. Okay, we're now, you have, we need to click a page. We're going to create a page.
Over here, new post?
No.
Okay.
But we need to make space for it to show up. Let me think about this. Let's go up a little. I'm trying to move up, and let me make this full screen. Okay, go higher.
I'm just trying not
Okay,
to.
so under cross column, add a gadget.
Yeah.
We're going to add a gadget for the pages.
Okay. And what is a gadget for this?
Well, when you click, you'll see.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, keep going down. We want pages. Click pages. Okay, and that's the title of it. Configure. Okay, we're going to have home. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Turn it on and just click save. Lower left, right, yeah. Click save.
Okay.
I just want it there. Okay. So now I would like you to go farther down the list than new post and go to page. And I'll show you what we're going to make.
Okay, I'm down all the way.
No, on the left navigation bar. I'm sorry.
Over
That's
here.
me. Just above layout. Okay. So we have no pages. And I'm going to share my screen for a second. How's our time? We're doing okay. We're almost ready for the lightning round. Okay, I'm going to pull this up.
Oh, yeah.
We're looking at Cousin Russ's blog temporarily as an example.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses Blogger as well. He used it.
Yeah.
These are pages. He has a page for Family Tree Maker 2017, Knowledge Base, and About Me.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make one called Contact. That's another one that could go there.
Okay.
And another one that you should do, and you can learn to do this by following this again and hitting pause when this recording is available. You need one that says contact, so the people can connect with you. Or it might be about, I wonder if Cousin Russ has his contact there. Oh yeah, this is how they can request a blog on a specific topic. And then he has his other blogs.
Yeah.
Okay. Contact and disclosures.
Oh, disclosures.
Disclosures is something that as you become more popular and you're given the opportunity, like Randy and I and Cousin Russ and others, and I have no doubt that would be you, you're going to get like free access to websites.
Okay.
Or they will give you a free version of their program, and that you need to disclose. And Randy does it in that post about a particular item. Like if he's talking about My Heritage, he'll say that he has a complimentary membership, for instance. He can do that.
Right.
And so that's where your disclosure statement would be. And I have to add that to mine. In fact, I just this second, as soon as I let go of my mouse, I just this second reminded myself to put my disclosure statement on my new dearmyrtle.com. So we're all still learning, even though we know. So we're going to click New Page at the top of that list on the left. The navigation.
Okay.
Oh, you were up there already. You're at Pages. Yeah. Okay, so the title is going to be, do you want it to be About Me or Contact?
Contact is fine.
Okay, Contact. And you need it to be uppercase C, unless it's your style guide. And while you're doing that typing, let me bring in some interesting comments from people while you're working on that. Valerie says, I recommend creating a unique email address for your blog. This keeps your private email address away from businesses.
Okay, that was my question. Okay.
Yeah. Hillary says my blog has very short, quite short posts. Oh, somebody says, Karen says your main thing branches is missing an N, so we'll have to go fix N. Let's see. Karen's asking, would you use pages for family names, or is there a better way to organize this about different families? Yes, you could do that, but you would have to you would write your posts about 10 different posts about the Smith family and 10 different posts about the Jones family, and you would have to manually add them to the page where you're aggregating them. This is because in Blogger, the menu system, that we're trying to make a menu system in a very old way. It's not as robust and easy to do as in WordPress. Randy, you have some things on your website. I think Best Of is one of the things on your menu, isn't it? Let me pull it up. Talk to me. You're on screen.
Yeah, I curate mine.
Yes.
A lot of my blog posts, the ones that are with a regular theme, like the transcriptions and amanuensis Mundi,
Yeah.
and biographies on 52 ancestors, and my favorite posts each year, and things like that. So I have a number of them there. My own presentations and presentation schedule, things like that. And I have a toolbox, Randy's genealogy links.
Yeah.
So that's what I have, but it takes work to add to them. That's just another post, really.
Right. You make a post, and then here's his Best Of. And by the way, Maria, you didn't have to add a second line. It knows to move over and make it a second line if you have a lot of tabs like this.
Okay.
And all right, but here we are on his best posts, right? I clicked here, best posts. And then he manually added these for 2023. And those are individual items, right? Where he took the URL, he took the title and the date that it was posted. And then you click and you'd go to that place. So if you had one for the Smiths and the Joneses and the Merriweathers and the Washingtons, but just pick like your grandparents, not 5,000 things, not 5,000 I mean, you could do 5,000 surnames, but by then we'd never see you on Mondays with Myrt. Okay, so back to where you are. Let me pull you up, and we'll have Randy go back. Okay, so you're going to work on fleshing this page out about you, that you're interested in, that your ancestors typically come from wherever they are, and that you consider yourself an intermediate or an advanced researcher when it comes to Pennsylvania research, and that put that you're a panelist on Mondays with Myrt and put the link there.
Okay. So I would put that all here under contact.
Yeah, because what I'm having you do is put your name, contact information, and what it is that about you that would be intriguing. I really call it about me.
Okay.
Which hides it from the obvious contact when people are going to be looking for your email.
Okay, so I should rename it then.
Hillary says she's going to set up some pages on her blog and we'll edit before next week.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's be sure to add that to the list in our private Facebook group, Hillary, so I remember to talk about it next week, because that's very intriguing. Yeah, and Karen's saying, yes, she was thinking of the 4 main grandparents. Yeah, and Randy curates, oh yeah, that's what we just did. And then Blogger search box works for anyone. Yeah, they can, the Blogger search box looks for every word on a page or on a post and gives you a hit list. So if the name is Snicklefritz, that's pretty,
Right.
Okay. All right. Now, if you were to go, if this were published, and I need you to make 3 blog posts, okay?
Okay.
3 blog posts. This is your assignment. Make 3 blog posts and finish this about/contact page.
Yeah, I'm going to rename that.
And if they're all published, can you do that? How about in 2 weeks?
Okay.
Okay, 3 weeks.
Okay, whatever.
And that's, yeah. Then we have some meat to finish our discussion. Because what we're doing is teaching people how to do, how to set up a Blogger blog, which is a lot easier than WordPress.
Okay.
Yeah, Marcia, you're right. WordPress has a lot more options, categories, etc. So we're not talking about that. Yeah, that's just not available here. The learning curve is just too much. You might want to do DNA discussions. Put your DNA and your link to where you are on, who you are in GEDmatch and who you are, on Ancestry, your ancestry DNA tree, etc. Frank says, okay, I will do 3 posts in that time as well, and I'll try not to write books per post. Good. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Maria, for letting us go explore your website.
Oh, no, thank you.
Created.
Thank you.
Okay. If you need to text me, do you have my, I think y'all have my personal cell phone number. Yes. I will respond.
I will SOS you if I need it.
Okay. So, Karen, thank you for saying this is inspiring. One thing we noticed, remember the last time we met, I got booted off because my internet was really shaky and I couldn't get back on. One thing I learned is that it did not save that entire Mondays with Myrt over on YouTube or anywhere. So we lost that. That's why we needed to go through what you had on your blog.
Okay.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Okay, are we, let's go to the Randy Seaver portion of the show. Randy, let's pull, could somebody bring him up on the screen again? And I will pull up some interesting things here. What the heck have you been doing lately?
Well, I've been working on artificial intelligence things, and I don't have any subscriptions. I'm using all free stuff at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
So I've written biographies using AI, ChatGPT 4.0, Copilot, Claude, and Perplexity now. And and then with that, I thought, I read on Facebook that I could write poems on ChatGPT, and so I've done that, and I can write them on Copilot and Claude also. So I've written some blog posts. Now, the problem is I'm not a creative writer. I can try to remember rhyming words and things like that, but put them together is hard. I'm an engineer. I'm a genealogist. I deal in facts and sources and numbers. So I don't tell stories well. I don't deal in lyrics and iambic pentameter. that's how it is. I'm sentimental. So, so what I found is that these poems and songs offer an opportunity to tell a story about my ancestors and my family, and
Mhm.
find a way to share them with my grandchildren and my daughters and my brothers and cousins and friends and whoever else.
Ah.
So you might ask, well, why do I care about this? Why do it? Well, I want to honor my ancestors, and I try to do this on my blog too, and inspire our family to realize that these are important people that came before us, did their best, overcame obstacles, worked hard, succeeded in life. But the challenge is to provide enough personal information to the artificial intelligence engine to create a summary of their life in 200 characters or less in a song. The GPTs will do it with any length. I mean, people have uploaded a whole GEDCOM file and said, "Tell me things." So on my blog, I've been writing songs and poems. So this one was about DNA, helix of our souls, and I've been every Sunday morning now. I write a blog post that tells a story basically, and about genealogy also, not just my own research. So I can add a prompt right at the top there of the screen. I wanted to create a poem about ancestry and DNA, mentioning intertwining helixes, chromosomes, genes, etc. So use keywords, okay?
Mhm.
And within 10 or 15 seconds of pressing the button, it creates, 5, 6, 8, 10 stanzas of a poem. So you can scroll down.
Okay.
And then you can do the same thing on suno.com. That's just the graphic I have. So there's the poem, and it rhymes. This is,
Oh
poem
my gosh. Yep.
poem 101. It isn't what real poets write anymore. Um, and
My
then
DNA. Yep.
I can use suno.com to write a song, and
I
the
think I can play it. I think I can play it, but you need to mute your sound.
but only go 30 seconds, or you can get a feel for it. So you can pick a genre on suno.com. It's free. You can do 10 songs a day. I haven't done 10 songs a day yet, but I've done like 10 or 15 songs total.
Okay, let me mute you
Okay.
and I'll play it. I hope y'all can hear it. Wait, it's not doing anything yet. Can you hear it? Okay, I turned my volume up really loud. I mean, you're going to be the next James Taylor, I think. That's the genre you pick. Way cool.
It works for me. And the lyrics and the song is different from the poem, obviously.
Right. And what's been the reaction with your daughters, your grandchildren, your brother?
Crickets.
Say again?
Crickets. They
Oh, nothing?
they aren't impressed.
Oh, give me a break.
Well, they're busy. It's not video. So,
Oh. Well, I think that's at least with audio that you're catching them. That's a podcasty kind of a thing.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do one a week, and if you go up to the top and click on, this is about DNA. Okay, I've done some about family trees and things, but click on the tale of DeVere Smith there.
Yep.
And it'll be a similar thing, but here I have a longer prompt that I used, and then I had to shorten that for Suno.
So a prompt, guys, is what you do when you log into Chat GPT, and Frank is right. 4.0 is the default right now, but it will go to back to 3.5 if you've done too many prompts, too many new requests.
Yeah, but 4.0 is free at this point.
Yeah. And so this is how Randy communicated with that artificial intelligence chatbot. You had to put it in there so it had something to work about, and you start having a conversation back and forth, like give the guy some glasses, stuff like that. You could keep going like that.
Yeah, and you can ask them to add more stuff if they miss something. Typically, the poems will be 4 or 6 stanzas, and you can ask for more. They have given it some more, but you can see from the prompt that I've highlighted just the basic facts in his life, and it writes this poem, and it's pretty darn good.
Talks about the different places he lived and about the ranch.
Yep.
And his death. Talked about different jobs that he had. Gosh, that's actually a pretty complicated prompt. You could also edit this to say, write a poem at the 5th grade reading level or the 3rd grade reading level of 2 stanzas. You can, in other words, you can, quantify it or cut down on the, and also on the focus of the target audience. Okay. Keep going. I love it.
So the poem had pretty long stanzas, long lines, 8, 9, 10 syllables.
Right.
I had to cut, for the song, I had to cut down the prompt because Suno only allows 200 characters.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's like 30 words, maybe 20, 30 words.
It's 20 after.
Okay. We'll do lightning round next.
To help the kids,
Okay. Yeah. And then it's a new way of communicating. And I haven't spent a lot of time doing this. So the fact that you have, I do the AI part of helping it analyze a document that I've had it. First of all, I'll go to Transcribus that we've discussed before, and I will have it translate handwriting to text. And then I will take that text and go to Perplexity and ask it to do things. I tend to use Perplexity more now, but that's just me. And yeah, there are some, it's pretty amazing what you can do.
Yeah, there's a link there for my song page, basically, my tracks. So, if I add that to all my poem and song.
I have to sign up. Yeah, no problem.
Don't bother, but I just wanted to point it out. And but frankly, this is therapy. Okay, this is therapy for me. This is fun. What can I make this thing do that impresses me or will help me? Okay, biographies. I can take for a biography. I can take just the list in Roots Magic, the timeline list, and you can include the families. Just copy and paste that into ChatGPT or Copilot or something, and it will write a biography based on that. Perplexity will do the same. Perplexity now and ChatGPT 4.0 are accessing the web now, so Perplexity wrote a biography of my fourth great grandfather last week to based on what it found on my blog and what it found on WikiTree. Okay, it's only found WikiTree so far. It doesn't go look for a family search or whatever yet.
It can't do things that are behind a paywall.
Yeah.
So that's going to limit it because even the tree is behind the paywall. Perplexity has just been updated, and people are noticing that it is going 7 depths down from its initial response automatically if you give it time before you modify your prompt. And it's pretty good at pulling in things like JSTOR, etc., and telling you the source of that tidbit of information first, and then the next thing and what its source was. So it's known for being good about that. All right, we're running out of time.
Yep, go.
And so I need to pull up my my Google sheet, wherever the heck it is. And thank you, Randy, for explaining this, what you're doing, because it's very fun, as you say, therapeutic way to look at your ancestors. And that's something you can, he clearly stated that he used AI to create this post, to create the content for this post. And that is something, Maria, that if you make a graphic, like that one gentleman we are looking at, somebody in 20 years is going to think that's the real photo for the guy when it isn't. You need to clearly label what is AI generated and in whatever you do. Let me close that. And Randy, thank you for helping on this. Let me get, there's several of you that are to help me with the new podcast. Let me pull this up for the lightning round. If you would like to follow Mark Thompson and Steve Little's podcast, it's one of the several podcasts I recommend. One of the 2 new ones I want to bring to your attention this week. Golly, here we go. Let me send this out to everyone. Oh, I'm on private chat. Okay, and let's see, who else is on the lightning round? Please raise your hand so that we can pull you up. Okay, okay. No, Jill, I didn't have you as a lightning round person because I don't have it. Okay, so that's the AI family, the Family History AI show. These are the folks that I, whose grip course I took. I about fell over off my chair. Anyway, you want to follow that one. And there's an interesting one that Jen Baldwin is hosting. It's called Justice Served. Let me pull it up. Here's this lightning round item. Okay. All right, there we go. And let me send that out.
Very good one, this one. I've listened to it.
Murder in the Family. Okay, thank you. There we go. Thanks for mentioning that. Okay, and what else have we got to mention in the lightning round? Oh yeah, Melinda brought this one to my attention, and then a few others will raise your hand. That's Randy and Ellen. This was a very interesting contribution, and Melinda's working the YouTube side today. Here in the United States, of course, we have the National Archives at archives.gov. These are Department of State central files that cover a broad time period. They're also now available online. And one of the archivists over in College Park, Maryland, wrote this post. Am I sharing my screen? Yes. And aside from explaining the background and general information, etc., some of these were on microfilm, and so the quality can depend on the original filming. They are showing up in the catalog. Aside from his explaining all that, he talks about how to cite them and why. Which office is it from? Department of State, could be Foreign Service Post or any other individual, and what the destination of the communication was. So it could be a U.S. Department of State letter to so-and-so. Well, what type of document, the date, the file number, which is the numerical file number that he talks about below. And he gives you an actual example because you have series titles and record group number and titles. And it's the same thing when you're trying to cite something over at the National Archives of the UK. Their record groups and numbering system is different. And so unless it's a specific example in evidence explained, you need to follow the advice, as in this case, the National Archives of the US has done for citing this particular record. Now, here it is. Here's the U.S. Legion legation. So that means the delegation or legation to Great Britain to the Department of State, a dispatch from 1866, and that it's in record group 59, etc., and then a shorter form. I always do the long form, knowing that if I ever end up publishing in some scholarly journal, that particular editorial staff will have their criteria for how they want a citation to look. All right, who's next? Randy, you've got relationship diagram. That's a fun new thing. We're going to be over about 5 more minutes, guys. What is this? Tell me about this.
MyHeritage introduced a relationship diagram a couple of years ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It was only for people with small trees, less than 10,000 people.
Yeah.
So I never got to use it because I got 70,000 right now.
Yeah.
If you, to hurry things up here, if you click down to the bottom, you can see that it's, go to the next slide. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let me go back.
Yeah. Just do it. They're all small then. Yeah.
Okay.
Go to the last one. Okay. So
Okay.
that's a typical one. I wanted to see what my relationship was to this guy, Joseph Loren Whittle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I chose him because he's on my wife's tree, but not on not my ancestor.
Mm-hmm.
So it showed me the relationship here.
Mm-hmm.
And he's my wife's second cousin once removed. So it's relationship and not necessarily ancestor, and that's okay, but it works.
Yeah.
So they added it to include anybody with a bigger tree than 10,000 people.
And that's really important because the number of you do have more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's good. All right. Also, there's another thing happening that involves another option that was available, AI Record Finder.
Yeah.
And you want to mention that?
Yeah. One of the things that they introduced at Roots Tech this year was the AI Record Finder. I guess it was in December, actually. AI Record Finder and AI Biography. Okay. And Record Finder was kind of hokey. It only accesses records on MyHeritage.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't access any records other than on MyHeritage.
Mm-hmm.
It would go to trees, and so it would write a you'd have a chat with the chat bot. I forget what his name was now.
Mm-hmm.
Belvedere or something like that. And, and you could do it humorously or not. But I don't think it ever caught on because they didn't have enough records. They still don't have enough real records, that experienced genealogists need. So, they would take they would look at your tree, your person on a tree, and then find records in their collections for that person. And it was always trees, pretty much. And then you had to deal with it. So they didn't add it to your profile on your tree. So anyway, so they're canceling this August 9th. I wrote a blog post last Thursday before they put this out.
Mm-hmm. So it won't be available in the future, but it doesn't mean that you can't look for records. You just can't use the AI feature as the method for doing it.
Yeah, it seemed like the AI tool got in the way of searching,
Yeah, and they had hoped more people might use it, but it just didn't work out.
And they may come up with something better.
You never know.
Boy, is that pretty inventive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are pretty good at inventing new things. They also made a partnership, and I pulled up. Here we go. Ellen onto the stage, like I pulled her up by her hair. I got to figure out a better way to say that. Ellen, can we hear you? Is it working?
Yeah, I think it's working.
Oh, yeah, you're coming through beautifully. So FTDNA is doing something and they're collaborating with MyHeritage. Would you talk about it?
Right. About 2 weeks ago, if you've tested or transferred your DNA to Family Tree DNA, then they have a tree right now, but they're not going to support it after September the 9th. So now you have been given the opportunity to link your tree to your MyHeritage tree, or you can transfer your tree from Family Tree DNA over to MyHeritage. So there's a number of different ways you can do it.
Let's use the word copy, because when you do it, MyHeritage isn't expecting you to do a GEDCOM file, are they?
No, it's just a transfer over.
Yeah, MyHeritage, once you tell MyHeritage, this is who I am on FTDNA, and I authorize you to get everything that I've attached, all the whatevers, it will then copy what's on FTDNA. It won't go away from FTDNA, at least for the foreseeable future. But after, what is that, September 9th, you won't be able to do this process. Yeah, and you won't be able to edit.
Yeah, so it'll be a static tree on Family Tree DNA. Yeah. But now, and then, so like you can either it's moving over to MyHeritage, or you can, if you have a MyHeritage tree, you can attach your person immediately to that. So when somebody clicks, if they're a DNA match to me, now they can see my tree that I have at MyHeritage.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it really works slick.
All right, I'm sharing the link to your little short subject 5-minute 39-second video on your YouTube channel.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, by the way, I'm changing it to all, so I'll know when you do stuff. I am subscribed. You go step by step through the process.
Right. And it's important that once you put your tree or copy your tree over to MyHeritage, that you go back into your Family Tree DNA and change the settings so that it links to the person you want to link it to. because I have a multiple number of family members that I look after their family or their DNA at Family Tree DNA. So I wanted them to attach to the tree, but to the proper person.
Okay. Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So thanks for giving very practical advice on how to work through this. Um, those of us who are in the U.S. have a rather myopic view of my heritage. We think ancestry is pretty big, but out in the rest of the world, my heritage is bigger. Okay? Remember, they've got something like 80% of the adults in Norway have tested and have accounts at MyHeritage. They're also strong for Eastern Europe. And something that no other website provides, MyHeritage has language capability for 42 different languages. And I'm not just talking drop down menus to navigate to a different part of the website. It has to do with understanding names and how, and Cyrillic characters and everything else. It's a pretty interesting website. And Gilad Jafat really pushes his coders to come up with pretty marvelous things. Yeah. So Randy, with those matches in Norway, it's because of they did an on-site MyHeritage all-day seminar, and it drew hundreds of people, thousands of people. So cool. Oh, well, thank you for the feedback. I will see you in 2 weeks, Valerie says, but I will be here next week with this cadre of wonderful panelists. All I can do is say thank you for everyone who's been here. I miss talking with Hillary. I miss talking with a couple other folks, but I do appreciate it. I want you to know how hard these panelists work for me for no money. It's because they love sharing what they've learned. And that we have our own private Facebook group where they post suggestions for the next meeting. We've already got 2 things on the list. Richard from Goldie May is going to be here to share 2 things that Goldie May can do. And then the following week, he's going to be back with 2 more things. I signed up for Goldie May again for the Pro because if I want to show you my family tree, my DNA tree, my matches, I got to get that sentence right. If I want to demonstrate something about my DNA matches, I need to protect the privacy of those matches when talking about it with you. And Goldie May has an option to automatically blur that page until it protects and covers up that personally identifying information. That alone is worth all the tea in China. I don't know. I don't know about you. Pretty cool stuff. Anyway, thank you. And Ellen, I think whatever it is you did to make your sound work, it's good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, folks, there's nothing left to say, but I'm Dear Myrtle, your not so retired friend in genealogy. Happy family tree climbing, everybody. That's a wrap.